Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Douglas Ng. Okay, and there seems to be some problems. Can you guys see me? Okay, there seems to be some problem on my YouTube, which I am going to resolve right now. Okay, I am back. Okay, so that was a little bit of stress that was caused. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kampong Kid on Embracing Chaos from the Ikigai Zone. So the topic for this evening is how to find calm in chaos. Okay, and if you guys are here with me, please say hi. Okay, and I will get right down into the topic for this evening. So what is calm and chaos? Okay, and really the topic is about dealing with stress. Okay, and let's talk about stress for a moment. Okay, what is stress? What is stress? What is stress to you? Again, so stress to me is when things get out of a state of balance. Okay, at any point in time, we have a certain equilibrium. Okay, in the environments that we are in situations, in relationships, there is a certain balance that is established between us and whatever is around us. Okay, so when I look at something that is relative to me, I want to establish a certain state of order. I want to establish a certain state of normal, which creates an equilibrium state. And in an equilibrium state, everything is going well. So we are moving in an equilibrium state, okay, what I call normal, and then something might happen. Something might happen that causes or that disrupts this equilibrium. Okay, maybe something comes. Okay, there's a force or an external thing that affects one side of the equilibrium, which throws it off, and then now we are in a state of disequilibrium. So the normal state is broken. And when the normal state is broken, it creates pressure, it creates a level of stress, because now the system wants to get back into order. But because there's an external force, there's something that is acting on this. Okay, so let's say my two hands, okay, they are happily going along. Okay, so this is a state of order. This is a state of order, state of order, state of order, and something comes, okay, and applies pressure. In order to maintain this state of order, this hand needs to fight back in response to stay in equilibrium. Okay, what I call norm. So this is normal. But when a force is exerted, this is now out of norm. Okay, it is imbalanced. Okay, it is out of equilibrium. Two things can happen. Okay, the first thing is we find a new equilibrium like this, okay, or we need to figure a way to get this back into equilibrium. And if this is the expectation, if this is the norm, or this is the norm that we desire, and it is shifted like this, then it creates a level of, there is tension. Okay, tension because it is being stretched from the form that it is what I consider the expectation of norm. Okay, it is forced into another state, okay, which is an undesired state. And this undesired state, this disequilibrium, this imbalance is what I call stress. Okay, so it could be like that, it could be like that, it could be like that. Okay, anything that brings a body or an entity out of its normal state creates a level of tension, creates a level of stress. It's like a rubber band, okay, in its relaxed state. Okay, so you may have a rubber band in a relaxed state. It is a certain size, it is a certain shape. If we stretch that rubber band in any way, okay, we stretch that rubber band in any way, We are forcing it out of its normal shape, and it attempts to get back into its normal state of where there's no tension. That stretch is stress, and humans are like that. So humans experience stress when we are in a state of disequilibrium. When everything is going fine, no stress. Okay, because everything is as expected, everything is going as per normal, everything is going well. That is order. But when something comes in, and that something could be different things for different people, when that something comes in that rocks this norm that we are in, that rocks this equilibrium that we have, it creates stress, and it can come in many shapes and sizes and intensities. And we all experience different forms of stress in different areas of our lives. What are some of these forms of stress that you experience? So what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'm going to share from the perspective of the questions I'm going to ask. Okay, and I would like, my invitation is for each of you to consider and take a look for yourself what it might look like, what stress might look like for you. Okay, and usually, and why we talk about chaos. Okay, chaos creates stress. Okay, chaos is the state, stress is an outcome. Okay, an outcome in the state that we are in, and we desire to get out of stress back into order. And the way to get out of stress back into order is to either remove the chaos, and sometimes that is not possible. Chaos is happening all the time. So now if it's not possible to get out of chaos, or it is not possible to get out of chaos in the moment, then how do we find the calm in that chaos? How do we ride out the storm? Okay, and that's really what that's really what I'm going to talk about tonight. So the first question I have for all of you is this: what are the top 3 things that stress you out on a daily basis? Okay, what is it? Is it financial stress? Okay, worry about money. Okay, is relationship stress? There is something that's causing a disequilibrium in your relationships. Is it career stress? Okay, what kind of stress? Is it mental stress, emotional stress, spiritual stress? Okay, what are the 3 things, okay, that creates stress for you on a daily basis? And the other thing I want to talk about where stress is concerned is also there are 3 types of stresses. Okay, to me, I see 3 types of stresses that we experience, or I experience. There is stress of the past. What has happened in the past that is still disturbing me, that is still causing me some state of upset, some state of dissatisfaction, some state of not being in the place where I desire to be, and it may manifest as an emotion, it may manifest as a thought, okay, it may manifest as a reaction. Okay, so there's stress from the past. Okay, and then there's stress in the present, what's happening in the present, in the current moment right now, that's creating imbalance for me. And then there's future stress, which is what I am worried about that will happen in the future that has not happened yet. But I worry about it because it is in anticipation of something that might occur that might mess things up for me. So we are constantly living in flux. Okay, every single moment we are in a state of flux. Okay, the only constant in life is change. And change actually causes stress because it disturbs the force, it disturbs the equilibrium, it disturbs the normal. So what are the top 3 things that stress you out on a daily basis? What do you worry about? What do you fear? what concerns you, what throws you off balance. Okay, and there's no right or wrong about whatever it is that stresses each of us. Okay, and there's no good or bad about whatever stresses each of us. So stress simply means that we are in a state of disequilibrium. And we need to acknowledge this state of disequilibrium, because until we acknowledge this state of disequilibrium, we will not be able to figure out how to get back into a state of equilibrium. When we don't know what is causing the disequilibrium, we can't fix it. Okay, it's like as long as we are, if we are sick, and as long as if we are sick, and as long as we can't figure out what we are sick with, we cannot find a cure for that sickness or that disease. So the first thing is actually to acknowledge that something is in disequilibrium. Okay, and there's some people who, in situations of disequilibrium, go into avoidance, which I will talk about in a little while. So what are the top 3 things that disturb you? What are the top 3 things that stress you out on a daily basis? Is it waking up in the morning dreading going to work? Is it going to work having fear? Okay, having fear or not looking forward to what might occur through the day? Is it things that you need to do but feel that you are not able to do at the level that you desire to do it at? Okay, what is it? Okay, is it an elderly parent, okay, who is experiencing ill health that you are concerned about? Is it kids going to school, or kids behaving a certain way and you worrying about their future? Is it an argument that you have with your partner? Is it a disagreement that you have with a friend? Okay, is it the environment that is forcing you to behave a certain way? Is it feeling trapped because there are rules and conditions on how you need to live your life based on parental expectations, based on societal expectations, which you are not aligned to, but you have to do anyway so as not to rock the boat, or so that you can stay in flow? Okay, so stress comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes, all sorts of intensities. Okay, and there's beyond the past, present, and future stress that I talked about earlier. There's also short-term stress, and there is long-term stress, and then there's stress everything in between. Okay, what are some examples of short-term stress? You wake up late because the alarm clock didn't go off, and you've got a very important meeting to get to. And if you are late for that meeting, there are consequences. Okay, you might suffer losses, you might get reprimanded by your boss, you need to deal with consequences. So the alarm clock didn't go off, and then you get stressed because you feel that you might be late. So that causes stress. Okay, so the ideal state is that you wake up on time, you have a leisurely breakfast, you get dressed, you do whatever you need to do, and then you get to the meeting on time. Okay, that's the ideal state. Okay, but something has happened, the alarm clock didn't go off, or whatever the reason is. So this is short-term stress just for that moment. Okay, if you whether or not you get to the meeting on time, the appointed time for the meeting will come. Okay, it's either you're late or you're not. Okay, if you're late, then you need to deal with that. If you're not, then it's great. But once that incident is over, the stress is gone. Okay, so there's short-term stress. Long-term stress is when you need to deal with something on a long-term basis, stating the obvious. Something that persists, that's continuous. You are working in an organization, okay, that's treating you unfairly, okay, that is that has unfair rules, that is toxic, okay, that is unreasonable in their requests, but you need the paycheck, you need the job, you need whatever it is that you need that keeps you staying in that job. But the environment that you're in is a certain way that compels you to behave or to react to it because it is an unfair environment, it is a toxic environment, but you have no choice, you're not able to leave. Okay, I don't always, but after having said that, I never believe that there's no choice, there's always a choice. Okay, but for whatever it is that you see that you're unable to leave, that keeps you stuck in place because of the pay, because of obligations, because of responsibilities, because of your employment contract, because of a fear that you might not get another job if you leave this current one. So you stay in that job, the environment continues to be that way. You have absolutely no control about the environment. You need to stay in that environment. And for as long as the environment does not change, you'll be in a state of stress until you leave. Okay, so this long-term stress or a disease, a long-term illness, okay, chronic disease that a family member or a loved one is experiencing, and you need to deal with that. It doesn't go away. So that's short-term stress, and then there's long-term stress. And we're dealing with all sorts of stress all the time. What is this to you? What are the top 3 things that stress you out? Okay, is it past, present, future? Is it short-term, long-term? Okay, and what is it? Okay, so that's the first thing. Take a look for yourself. Because until you recognize it, okay, until we recognize it, we can't do something about it. Until we acknowledge it, we can't do anything about it. So the first thing is to be aware of and to actually notice, okay, so this is the thing that I'm stressed about. This is the thing that I'm stressed about, A, B, and C. So what's A, B, and C for you? That's number one. Then, how does it show up in your life? Is it physical, emotional, or mental? And it shows up differently for each of us. Okay, some of us feel emotional turmoil. Okay, we just feel disturbed, we feel unsettled, and we experience all sorts of sensations that we cannot control. But the thing also is emotions merely are chemical reactions occurring in our body. Some of us have experienced it in the mental as mental stress. Okay, we get headaches. Okay, we get headaches, our mind goes blank. We are unable to do the things that we need to do. We are unable to think or focus on the things that we need to do when we are under stress. Some of us experience physical stress. Okay, we go into reaction. Okay, we clam up. Okay, we feel crippled. We can't do anything. Okay, we feel sick in the stomach. So in what form does stress show up for you? And for each of us, stress shows up differently. For some of us, it shows up in all 3 forms. Okay, you feel the emotional turmoil, and then your mind goes blank or goes crazy, and you start to overthink, you start to worry. Okay, and then your body, you feel paralyzed. Okay, your body just clenches up or clamps up. Okay, so notice, how does stress show up in your life? What causes the stress? So number one is what causes the stress. The second thing is how does it show up? Okay, and for me, I notice that when I am in chaos, when I'm experiencing stress, there is this underlying, this low level of dissatisfaction. Okay, it's not dissatisfaction. This state of disequilibrium that I feel that I am off balance, and then I get distracted. So this is an emotional experience, this disturbance that I don't feel settled. And then my mind goes into attempting to figure out, okay, what to do with this. Okay, I don't experience so much physical stress, but when the mind overthinks and over analyzes and attempts to figure out things to deal with this unsettled feeling, this state of disequilibrium, it is very difficult for me to actually focus on the next things that I need to do, or on the tasks that I need to do on a daily basis. Okay, and what stresses me very often are things that are occurring in the environment that I know now very often that I have no control over. And it disturbs me. Injustice stresses me out. Helplessness stresses me out. Loss of control stresses me out. Okay, and why I say loss of control stresses me out, because I am wired in a certain way. I like to be in control. One of the components that I do when I work with people to discover their unique position of strength, which is part of the strengths quotient framework, is to take a look at each individual and what the focus areas are. And there are 4 focus areas that people have. Okay, or people fall into 4 focus areas. The first focus area is a need for control. We have a need, there's a group of people who have a need to be in control, to be able to solve problems. The second group of people need to be in social environments, and they thrive in social environments, and they like social environments that are very positive and very empowering. The third group of people like stability. They like stability, they like things to be balanced, they like status quo. The fourth group of people love, to have things, to love accuracy, okay, love data, love information, and they have a need, okay, for a high level of granularity in everything that they do. And so that would be the norm for them. And for me, I am in the first group of people, okay, who who needs control. And when I am not in control of something, when I feel helpless about something that I cannot do anything about, that creates stress for me. And I know that. I am very, very aware of that. And then I look at how to manage that. Okay, so what is it for you? Okay, how does it show up for you? And the third thing is this. Take a look. Okay, recall the last time that stress became so overwhelming for you. And what's overwhelming? It reached a point where you felt like giving up, where you felt that it couldn't get any worse, where it felt that you were drowning. And there was absolutely nothing that you could do. You were just crippled by whatever was creating that stress for you. When was the last time that happened? And it can be very disabling. Okay, it can be very, very crippling to be in a situation like that. Okay, when it is like being in a storm. Okay, so you're walking. Bright sunny day, everything is going well. And then suddenly it starts to rain. Okay, fine. If it rains, it is not so ideal anymore. You get a little bit wet. Okay, you might have an umbrella. You take the umbrella. You might walk onto the sidewalk where there's a little bit of shelter, and it is still fine. A little bit of chaos. Okay, but we need, okay, even though it's a little bit of chaos, okay, we need to acknowledge that chaos. we need to acknowledge that it is not sunny anymore and there's some rain that's coming down, and we need to adjust to this change in state, change in environment. Okay, so take out the umbrella. And then it starts to rain heavily. And the umbrella, even though you're holding the umbrella, it is not helping very much because the rain is now pouring and the wind is blowing. And despite the umbrella, you are getting wet and you're starting to feel cold. Okay, you're getting drenched and you're starting to feel cold. With the umbrella, no more sun, starting to feel cold. And you attempt to find some shelter. And the wind is and it's raining and you're getting wet. And then the rain intensifies, the wind intensifies, the rain intensifies, and your umbrella gets blown off, and now you're really experiencing the full downpour of the rain. And then it starts to thunder and lightning and boom, 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 and it starts to gale, the wind gets very strong, and you're wet and cold. And then your visibility goes off. Because the rain is so heavy, you can hardly see in front of you, and all around you, water is ponding and is turning into a flood. So now you're wet, it's windy, you're cold, and the water is rising. So it's intensifying, and you're looking everywhere. You're in the storm. And it becomes overwhelming because there's absolutely nothing you can do. You can't stop the storm. Okay, you can't stop the water rising. You can't stop the feeling cold. You can't stop the rain. You can't stop the wind. There's absolutely nothing that you can do. You're feeling totally, absolutely helpless. That's the overwhelm. And then you feel like giving up. When was the last time you experienced something like that? And what do you do when you experience something like that? Tremendous amount of stress. Tremendous amount of stress. What do you do? So that brings me to the next question. What do you do? What do you do to cope with stress in the moment? Because you can't fight the chaos. The rain, the wind. What do you do? So the first thing to do is to acknowledge and not to fight. Not to fight what is going on in the environment. Okay, because you can't fight it. You can't change the rain, you can't change the wind, you can't change the water rising. Then what do you do? Okay, don't fight it. Okay, take a look at how you can go with it. Of course, the example of the rain and the storm, okay, is really, really extreme. And most of us may not experience it to that level. But when you do, when you're knee deep in water, when it's raining, what do you do? You have to keep, number one, you have to keep moving anyway. Okay, stopping and feeling overwhelmed and giving up doesn't help. It doesn't change the situation. In a normal state of things, okay, out of the storm, what do you do when you experience chaos? And the first thing that we talk about all the time is to step back from the chaos. You cannot fight the chaos. You cannot fight chaos with chaos. If you fight chaos with chaos, the stress actually intensifies. What you need to do with chaos is like a rubber band. Okay, if a rubber band is being stretched, okay, it's no point stretching it further. Okay, because there's this opposing force. Okay, it's no point fighting. Okay, when there's this equilibrium, you need to get back into equilibrium. Okay, you cannot fight the disequilibrium. You need to acknowledge the disequilibrium. But in that moment, what do you need to do? Before you can get back into equilibrium, okay, you need to pause, take a moment to pause and consider what is happening, why it's happening, and what you can do about it. So take a moment to pause, take a moment to notice, take a moment to breathe, to clear the mind, because in a state of stress, when the mind shuts down, when the emotions are going crazy, when the body is feeling crippled, that is the point to actually step back. Okay, step back from yourself, step back from the situation, and take a look. Only when we step back from the chaos to look at the. Only when we step back from the chaos can we look at the chaos to see what is actually happening, so that then we can decide how we want to respond to the chaos. It's not adding more to the chaos, it's stepping back from the chaos. And when we start to step back from the chaos, and how do you step back from the chaos? Douglas, it's easy to say step back from the chaos. What does stepping back from the chaos mean? Stepping back from the chaos is taking a moment to assess, taking a moment to breathe, taking a moment to pause and collect yourself. And to notice, hey, I am in a state of stress right now. There's a lot of chaos happening. Okay, I cannot be drawn into the chaos anymore. I cannot be drawn into the drama. I need to pause so that I can see the drama. I need to stop everything. I need to stop my thoughts. I need to stop my emotions. I need to stop whatever is happening, that stress. Okay, so when this equilibrium, we're attempting to get it right. And when there is a force pushing this down, and then we attempt to get it up again, we are exerting a force against this force. And as long as this force continues to be here, we continue to fight it, then is who is stronger will win. And then we continue to be fighting this. So it's not to fight it. Okay, it's to notice that, hey, it is off. It is off. What do I need to do right now? I cannot fight this to get this back into state. I need to get away so that I can get back into state, into the desired state I have. I cannot stay in this environment. I cannot stay in this situation that is creating the stress, I cannot stay in this chaos that is creating this stress. I need to step away from it. But in order to step away from it, I need to see, hey, there is this force, and this force is created by this chaos. Because I went into this area, so now I need to get out and not fight this, because it is impossible. It may be impossible to fight. So what are some coping mechanisms to you? How do you cope? How do you cope with stress? In a practical manner. Okay, so the first thing is pause and breathe. When there's emotion that comes up, pause and breathe. And breathe out. One is not enough, take another one. Not enough, take another one. Walk away from the situation. Don't get involved in the conversations. Okay, step away from the drama. Then it becomes clear. When we are able to start clearing our minds. When we step back from the chaos, then we see what's not working. Then we see all the things that's creating the chaos. Then we have a choice to walk away from that chaos. When we walk away from that chaos, we actually eliminate the stress that's creating it. Or in stepping away and stepping back and being able to see the bigger picture, we start to see different possibilities as well. It's like when you are walking in a path, and then you come to a wall, and you can't get through, and you're banging against the wall, continue to bang against the wall, and that wall gets violent and fights you back. You're not going to be able to get through it without getting hurt. But when we step back, we might actually start to see that, hey, this wall is actually not so big after all. Maybe there are other ways around it, or over it, or under it, and that wall is just happen to be in the way of our current trajectory or our current path. Just stop fighting it. Oh my God, stop fighting it. Or it may be in a situation which is unknown, unpredictable, that is not within your control, and you don't know how to get control. You don't have the information, the knowledge, the skills, or the tools to be able to win a battle that you're in, to win a situation that you're in. Then don't fight that war. We need to pick. For me, we need to pick the battles in our lives, and we can't fight every battle. Again, some battles we need to leave behind because they are impossible battles to fight. And the only way to be able to see all this is actually to step back. In order to step back is to pause and breathe and consider. Okay, so if some people go for walks, some people do other things, okay, to clear their minds. And these coping mechanisms, there are positive coping mechanisms and there are negative coping mechanisms. What are negative coping mechanisms? Okay, you see the chaos, you see the stress, and then we go into avoidance. And then we numb ourselves with substance. Okay, we drink alcohol so that we don't have to think, we don't have to feel. Okay, we go into avoidance, but the situation doesn't get solved. Okay, and then we get into other forms of stress because we create other problems for ourselves. Okay, and there are healthier ways to deal with stress. Go break some plates. Go break some plates, but don't hurt anyone, including yourself. Go run. Go indulge in some physical activity that allows you to release all that pent-up energy and anger and frustration and whatever it is, okay, in a way that doesn't harm anyone in the process, including yourself. Go indulge in something that you enjoy and take your mind off that situation. But whatever it is, get out of that situation. How do you cope? Think for yourself. How do you cope with stress in that current moment? And then you take a breath and then you pause. And then you think about it. Okay, what is actually happening? And start asking questions. What is actually happening? What is this chaos about? Because when you pause and take a moment to assess, you may start to see things that you never saw before, that you didn't see before. And that chaos may totally be unnecessary. That, hey, this is something that's really, really silly that's happening. You don't have to play that game, walk away from that game. Okay, and one of the things that I talk about in the Ignite Your Ikigai Zone program is recognizing these situations that don't work, recognizing what I call a kill frame situation where there's unfair dominance, where there are unfair rules, where the environment is aggressive, antagonistic, where somebody is in control. Don't play the game. In situations like that, walk away from the game. To be able to walk away from the game is to first be able to recognize that the game is not working and not to be drawn into that game any further. Because it is a waste of time. I was going to use some French. Okay, because it is a total waste of time. And time, in many of the live streams I've done, time is the most precious commodity that we have. And time is passing anyway. How do you want to spend your time dealing with things that you have no control about, dealing with things, being in situations that causes tremendous amount of stress? And the thing I also want to say is this: as much as I also say that chaos is designed to help us grow, chaos is where we learn. Recognizing chaos and unnecessary chaos is also very, very important. Just because chaos is designed to help us learn, maybe sometimes chaos is to help us learn to get out of that situation and not to play the games that we can't win, or not to play games that are unfair to us, or not to be involved in situations that add absolutely no value to our lives, that don't bring us anywhere, that brings us backward, okay, that reduces the quality of our life, that reduces everything, the state of our life. It's being able to recognize that and get out of that, so that we no longer stay in that state of stress, which might be prolonged chronic stress. And prolonged chronic stress is not healthy for us. It's not healthy for anyone. So walk away. Pause. Do something that allows you to slow down and get out of that chaos state, so that you can think. Step back, step up, to be able to see what the chaos is about. When we are able to see what the chaos is about, we will see that sometimes it's not necessary, and then we see other possibilities. And sometimes this chaos steers us. But we must be able to notice that this chaos is not working, so that we can be steered into another direction. As long as we don't recognize the chaos as chaos is not working, as long as we're stuck in the chaos, we continue to waste our time. We continue to feel stressed. We continue to harm ourselves. Okay, so step back, take a breath, walk away, reassess, reconsider, and you will experience greater clarity about whatever that chaos is that's creating the stress. And then you are a choice to be able to do something differently, to be able to do something that's more empowering, to be able to stop wasting your time. So the next question I have, take a look at the time when you reframe a stressful situation to see it in a more positive or productive light. And I can tell you this, so many points in my life, without being aware that I was in situations that were disempowering, without being aware that I was in situations that trapped me, I would actually say that it was not a lack of awareness, but it was more a form of denial. And we all do that. We don't like to see the things that are not nice to see. So we tend to, I tend to disregard red flags sometimes. And I feel it in my gut, I feel it in my heart that there's something that's not working, but I avoid it because the pain is not intense enough. And on the contrary, it's always a balance. So there's pain, and then there's pleasure. And there's always a balance of the pain and pleasure. If there's enough pleasure to hide the pain, then I like the pleasure, because the pain is not intense enough to overwhelm the pleasure. But this pain, when I'm in denial, when I avoid it, I'm actually allowing that to continue to occur. I am giving permission. It could be the environment, it could be another person. I'm giving permission to that person or to the environment by saying that it's okay for me to feel the pain. And then the pain intensifies. It's okay for me to deal with the chaos. And then the chaos intensifies. Because the pleasure is great. What's the pain if the pleasure is great? And then the pain reaches a point where it moves across the threshold of balance, that it becomes bigger than the pleasure. When the pain becomes bigger than pleasure, the chaos turns into a crisis. And usually it happens very, very gradually. So the thing is actually to notice. Okay, is to notice and not ignore the red flags, to notice even the little bit of pain, the little bit of discomfort. And disease is like that. When there's something that's not working in our body, okay, there's this little pain, or we ignore it, it's nothing. And this little pain continues, persists, oh, it's nothing. And then it becomes bigger pain because we didn't address the small pain. And when we didn't address the small pain, we are allowing that small pain to grow bigger. Cancers are like that. Diseases are like that. We ignore the small disease, it becomes a big disease. And by the time it becomes a big disease, it becomes overwhelming to deal with. So early detection is key. Early detection of chaos is key. So you need to set up chaos detection system in your life. Okay, there's no such thing as small chaos, because every chaos, to me right now, in retrospect, after experiencing a lot of chaos in my life, every chaos is a sign that something is not working, something that I don't know, a skill that I need to learn. It's something unpredictable that I need to learn to anticipate. So I need to recognize the small chaos. Okay, so I've learned to build in a chaos detection system. And I thought I had a pretty good chaos detection system, and then I'm proven wrong. Because our chaos detection system is as good as the last biggest chaos that we have dealt with. That's always the level to which we are prepared. Okay. So my chaos detection system was as good, as strong as the last chaos that I experienced. Then when I experienced a bigger chaos, this chaos detection system that I have couldn't recognize this bigger chaos, because this bigger chaos just overwhelmed my chaos detection system, couldn't recognize it, and then I went into bigger chaos. But after having said that, each time I experience chaos, I built a stronger and bigger and more resilient chaos detection system. Will I ever build a huge chaos detection system that's big enough to avoid all chaos? No, cannot. Because all chaos is designed for me to build the next level of a chaos detection system. But what comes out of that, okay, is this. The bigger my chaos detection system is, when I've built a big enough chaos detection system, it means that all the smaller chaoses, there's no such word, okay, all the smaller chaos, all the chaos that are at lower levels are now handled, because I have upgraded my chaos detection system. Which means probably I will be able to deal with a lot of chaos, because my chaos detection system is quite high level. So the bigger the chaos, when we are able to see the chaos, walk away from the chaos, deal with the chaos, and resolve the chaos, we get an upgrade in our chaos detection system. So my chaos detection system is pretty upgraded right now. With all the chaos I've experienced, I have a pretty good chaos detection in my life. So to me, in looking back at all the chaos that I've experienced in my life, only good things have come out of it. Yes, it was painful. It was very, very painful to go through the chaos, but pain is part of it. Pain is part of the experience of life. And pain is not good or bad, it's not right or wrong. Pain is pain. All emotions are equal. Without knowing pain, Without knowing pain, I will never be able to appreciate pleasure. Without knowing sorrow, I will never be able to appreciate joy. Without understanding abandonment, I will never be able to appreciate love and acceptance. So they are all part of human experience that exists on a spectrum that gives us that gives us the full experience of what life is. And so looking at all that and looking at chaos right now, it is no longer so the one thing that came out. Okay, so now I'm talking about reframing a stressful situation. My immediate response when I detect chaos right now is to step away. I used to fight chaos a lot. I used to get upset. I used to be very reactive. I used to want to kill people. I used to feel very down and disillusioned and disappointed with life and people. But right now I look at chaos and I see beauty. Because within that chaos is order, then all I need to do is to find that order. So when I experience chaos right now, so what comes out? So how I've reframed chaos is chaos is the greatest teacher. So make chaos. So I need to make chaos my friend. And when chaos shows up, I say, hello, good friend. Nice to see you again. What have you got in store for me this time that you want me to learn? So there's no upset, there's disturbance, but there's no major upset from a perspective of why is this happening to me, but more from a frame of this is damn bloody annoying. This damn bloody annoying is bloody wasting my time. Can we get this done and over with so that I can move on with my life and stop disturbing me? Stop disturbing me already. It doesn't get me down. So chaos doesn't get me down now. Chaos compels me to look at what's next. Chaos compels me to look at what's not working. Chaos compels me to look at where there may be roadblocks so that I can find another way. And when it's framed that way, for me, when it's framed that way, I see tremendous opportunities appear from everywhere. So what does that look like for you? Think of a time when you looked at a stressful situation and then you repackaged it. You say, "Wow, actually, this was pretty beautiful anyway." Okay. Oops, wrong question. So establish habits. Okay, establish habits and routines. If you know that you get stressed in a certain way, anticipate. If you know that you get stressed in a certain way mentally, if you know you get stressed mentally, then establish routines that when you start to notice this mental stress that you're experiencing, okay, what do? Go into do something that will relax your brain, do something that will take your mind off whatever is happening. You go watch a comedy or a tragedy, whichever works for you, that takes you off the current state of stress. If it's emotional duress that you experience, then do something that you enjoy. Go meditate. Okay? Go take a walk in nature. Go play with a dog or a cat. Go talk to someone, okay, who will not judge you. Go do something that works for you to remove that emotional duress. Okay, so find daily habits. And one of the things that has worked for me tremendously well is this practice of being grateful, gratitude. And gratitude resolves a lot of things. When I am grateful, I realize that when I am coming from a place of being grateful, I'm coming from being grateful for life and whatever life is showing to me, because when I'm grateful for when I'm grateful, then I acknowledge that whatever life is giving to me, the ups and the downs, the pain and the pleasure, are all contributing to my experience of life. And then I say thank you. And that helps me reframe a lot of things. And each of us can practice gratitude in different ways. It could be simply waking up in the morning and saying, thank you, universe, that I am. Thank you, life. Thank you, universe, whatever works for you, that I am awake now to be able to enjoy and live another day. At night, thank you for all the experiences that I've had today. Whatever has happened has contributed to enriching my experience of life. Thank you for the pain. Thank you for the pleasure. Thank you for the ups. Thank you for the downs. Thank you for the joy. Thank you for the sadness. Being grateful for every single thing. Grateful for the moment. Okay, and earlier I talked about past, present, and future, and sometimes it's also living in the moment. Because that's all we have, the present right now. The past is over. I can't change anything. It's over. If I continue to let the past affect me, then I am allowing the past to continue to have a hold on me. And that keeps me stuck. That may get in the way of me doing something else that adds value to my life, because of a past that I am still hanging on to, this baggage that I am still holding. It is done. It is over. I need to let that go. And we have a process in the Ignite Your program that's about letting it go. And worrying about the future has not yet happened. And we can worry to death about the future, the what if this, what if that, what if everything. We have absolutely no control about what's going to happen. For the best created plans, chaos can still happen. So the only thing we can deal with, the only thing I know that I can deal with, is to live in the present and do what I can do right now in this moment. And then let the next moment take care of itself. The only thing I can consider is what I can do today and live today, and let the worries of tomorrow, I'll worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. There's no point worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow today, because I can't do anything about it. And if I worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, I might actually sacrifice what I'm doing today that actually makes what I'm worrying about tomorrow happen. So being present. Okay, so number one is being grateful. Number two is being present in the moment and dealing with life as it is in the moment, because that's all I have. This moment, and then the next moment, and then the next moment, and then the next moment, and being grateful for every single moment. Okay? So chaos is temporary. If we allow chaos to be temporary. If we continue to stay in chaos, then chaos becomes chronic chaos. We always have a choice to walk away from chaos, to step away from chaos. We always have the freedom to do that. There might be consequences. There might be immediate consequences in that moment, in stepping away from the chaos. Things get broken in order for us to get out of a situation. But the things that get broken are done, no more. And then it's over, and then we move on. But in avoiding the drama of getting out of chaos, we continue to stay in chaos. We continue to stay in a situation that does not work for us. We continue to stay in a state of stress. And stress turns into disease. So we are poisoning ourselves. We are allowing other people to poison us by giving them permission to poison us. We're telling the environment that it's okay. We're telling disease that it's okay. When we don't address the chaos, and when we don't address the chaos, it becomes permanent. Okay, it becomes a lot more. It becomes a lot bigger to deal with. It turns to the crisis, and sometimes crisis very tough. Okay, so in the moment of chaos, step back, step back, step back. Look chaos in the face, and sometimes it's necessary to say, "Thank you, chaos. I'm done. I'm out of here," and then move on with the next thing that you want to do in life. Okay, that's it, folks, for this Monday evening. I hope that I've created value for all of you in a way that I can, that's different. I hope you enjoyed the last 60 minutes. Okay, I'm grateful for all of you being here. Thank you very much for your 60 minutes. I will be back next week with the next topic about chaos from the Ikigai zone. This is Douglas signing out. Take care.